And welcome in Irish Nation to the Golden Dawn Restaurant here with Ursuline's coach Dan Reardon. Coach, you guys got a big win against Cheney last week, and you guys played a pretty good game in terms of all three phases. Uh, what did it mean to get that win against that team, and also just how did you guys get it done?
Well, it was a conference game, obviously, so every game of the conference is important. That's one of our goals always is to win our conference, and hey, it's for bragging rights in the city and all those things. So I thought our kids played well. They executed at a fairly high level, but a little bit inconsistent on offense. We had a couple mistakes in the first quarter, but we cleaned that up and were able to get the big win.
Talked about last week being assignment sound against a team that's fast, athletic, and can make you pay
Yeah.
if you don't. How do you think you guys, fared on that end?
Yeah, overall pretty good. There were a couple of missed opportunities. Had a couple catchable footballs that we need to finish the catch. Contested catches that we had our hands on. And we need to finish those from a blocking perspective. For the most part, we did a pretty good job, but there were a couple missed assignments that we need to clean up. And,
Right. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
just some of those things. Yep.
Right, and so now 2-0 in the conference. This win, of course, on Friday would put you in sole possession and another Steel Valley Conference championship. But of course, it's a little bigger than that because it's a holy war.
Yep.
What does that just mean? Because you've been here for a number of them.
Yeah, so it's the best rivalry in this area.
I'd
for
say the
sure.
state, but
Yeah, and just so many great teams and players and great coaches that have come through, and there's just so much tradition, and then you add into the fact that going back when Mooney was started and when the school was opened, it was because Ursuline was busting at the seams with enrollment, so they made the decision to open up a second Catholic school, just a few miles down the road, and. So with that in mind, I mean, there's so many families that are interconnected that maybe grandma went to Ursuline, but the next generation went to Mooney because of where they were living on the south side and so on. So there's family bragging rights, there's city bragging rights. I mean, all our kids know all their kids, and from youth football all the way up. So there's a ton of familiarity from that perspective, but. As we talk to our seniors, I mean, it's for bragging rights for the rest of your life. It's not, for the senior class, it's, it stays with you good or bad for the rest of your life. And it's something that, 15, 20 years from now, if they're at a wedding, there's going to be some of their buddies at the wedding and that played on the other team. And they're either, giving it to them or taking it from them.
right, and of course,
And we want it to be in our favor, obviously. But it's just a great rivalry, and it goes back to the teams and the coaches and the players that have been a part of it over the years.
right, and of course, those seniors who win the first three and lose the last one, it still kind of holds a little more weight
Right.
being senior year.
Yeah, for sure.
And so you've coached in a lot of those. What is honestly your fondest memory out of that game that you've had?
Oh man. So there's been a ton of great games that I've personally been a part of, close games down to the wire. But I'd have to say, the first one that we won with me as a head coach, and that was in 2008. And the final score, I believe, was 10-7. Close game, great, two really good football teams. We went on to be 15-0 state champions that year, and it also was my first state championship as a head coach. The previous year, we were state runners-up, and we took that next step, winning the rivalry game, and take the next step, winning the state championship as well.
Right, and of course, your first year back here at Ursuline, you guys won. It was a great game, and that was when it started the rebuild, retool,
Yeah.
whatever, to where you guys are now. Winning that game, where Mooney obviously was a very good team at that time, and you're coaching Matt and all of that. What was it like to coach with your son in your first Mooney
Yeah.
game there, and kind of maybe set the tone for what you were expecting the next couple years and the rest of the time at Ursuline to kind of rebuild that program?
Yeah, so that one would be a very close second to the 2008 game. I mean, it's one of those two games, and they both had huge significance. The 2019 game, yeah, we were in a significant rebuilding mode, and I don't think very many people gave us a chance in that game. We had only one win coming into the game, and that gave us a ton of momentum going into the offseason, ton of belief, and all those things. But just the positive momentum generated from that game led to, what we've been able to do the past handful of years. And, that combined with coaching my son and his impact on that game. He had 2 touchdowns and very close to a third touchdown, got tackled on the 1 yard line. And then we scored, I think, the very next
Right.
play. But, that was certainly a memorable one as well. And, and again, just gave us a ton of momentum going into the 2020 season where we had a fantastic football team as well.
And of course, you mentioned, no one you didn't think gave you a real chance to win that game.
Yeah.
But of course, your first in here, and you mentioned before, okay, the 1 year Mooney was ranked top 5, whatever, in the state, and you guys were below 500, and it's kind of flipped with this year. And that just goes to prove that anything can happen in this game.
Yeah, it's a rivalry game, and on both sides, you're going to get, everyone's best effort, and any gadget or trick play or something like that they may have up their sleeve. I mean, they're going to turn it loose,
Right.
and they have a very talented football team, and if you just look at their record, it's not indicative of some of the players that they have on their team. So, they have guys who can make plays in all 3 phases of the game, and we need to be at our best and understand that we're going to get their best shot because we're having a really good year.
Right, and part of their best shot is if they win this game, they're guaranteed to be in the playoffs.
Yeah.
A loss doesn't guarantee that, of course.
Right.
And do you think that's going to add a little extra fuel and motivation to them on top of the holy war tag?
Yeah, I would think so. And you never want to leave something like that into the hands of someone else and hoping that someone else does something to determine your fate. So I know if it was flipped, we would certainly be using
Which it was your first
Yeah,
year when it was
as a source of motivation.
didn't get in,
yeah.
but it was you win that game, you're a very
It
good
put
shot.
us in contention, yeah.
Right. And so now focusing on the present, you got this Mooney team. What do they do well? What do you see from them, and what do you think you're going to have to do to get that win come Friday?
Yeah, so they're a really good defensive football team, and their defensive line moves around. They're athletic. They do a good job both versus the run and the pass. Their pass defense, they play a lot of man coverage with really good athletes doing it, and that's a challenge. So that they're kind of hanging their hat on defense this year. That from an offensive perspective, they want to run the football, and they're effective at it. They want to run the ball down your throat, and they're getting better and better. They made a switch at quarterback, and he's playing with a lot more confidence every week that he's under center. And even though they haven't put up big explosive numbers on offense, that they're a very, very improved offense over the past month, and you can see it from week to week.
Right. And now, this is, I'm sure every coach talks about, wanting to play your best football, your best game heading into the playoffs,
Yeah.
peak. And does this game also, winning this game, help just a little more for playing your best football going into the playoffs because all the momentum and energy you'll get from it?
Well, throw out the fact that it's a rivalry game.
Right.
You want to be playing your best football as you're getting into the playoffs. So with that, getting a win, playing well, having positive momentum, momentum is real, and so you want to be doing that at the right time, and our goal is always to get better every single week. But in order to do that, by now you have to be playing at a high level, and then hopefully carry it into week 11, week 12, week 13, and so on. And this is another one of those stepping stones. Then you throw in the fact that it's a rivalry game. You want to play well in a rivalry game and feel good about your effort.
And what's the expectations for your team this week you have?
Well, the big thing is just understand it's a fine line. It's a big rivalry game, but you have to do what you do,
Right.
and you're not trying to reinvent the wheel. You're trying to do what you do at a very high level, and from week to week, there's always game plan adjustments, and there might be a scheme adjustment or a new pass route or something like that. But that's normal. That's throughout the course of the season based on what the opponent does. But it comes down to, coaches always talk about taking care of the football. Well, it's more magnified in a rivalry game just because you're getting the other team's best effort no matter who it is. Ohio State, Michigan, Auburn, Alabama,
Right.
Ursuline, Mooney, it doesn't matter. The team that takes care of the football and minimizes unforced errors, puts themselves in a good position to win the football game. So you have to do that. We always talk to our kids about winning the rushing yards margin. We want to win up front on both sides of the ball. So we want to play good run defense, and that counteracts what they're good at on offense. And it's their go-to thing. They want to control the clock. They want to run the football well. We need to do a good job against the run, put them into long yardage situations on second and third down, so we can force them to pass, and we can dictate that they're passing, not the other way around where they're keeping us off balance. So all those things add up, and then our offensive line needs to control it so we can run the ball effectively as well.
Right, and mentioning the record's not an indication of how they are, and but they've played a lot of very similar opponents you have, the same ones
Yeah.
in fact. And does that help you when coming to scout them because okay, you can see what they did against the team you did, and when you turn on the tape.
It does a little bit from a schematic perspective. The big thing, you try to predict how they're going to block you, how they're going to attack you, and so one of the things when you're scouting, you're trying to find people who are similar to you, teams that are similar to you schematically, to try to see how they defended it or how they attacked it offensively. When you look at who they played versus who we played and all that stuff, there is some of that goes into it. Particularly from a personnel perspective. How did their D line play against Harding's offensive line, and what mismatches were there compared to, what we felt we had or what we saw in film, and so all those things come into play. But then also again with the rivalry game, that they're going to play better than what they've played, and it doesn't matter at what level they've played at. They're going to play better, and particularly when their backs are against the wall from a playoff perspective and conference championships on the line and all those things.
Right, and Mooney Week is obviously a lot of buzz around the school and just
Yeah.
leading games in the rally. How do you keep your players focused? Because obviously you're practicing after school, but just telling them, hey, we got to block out the noise and just focus like it's any other game.
Yeah, that's a big thing. I mean, just you have to have a certain level of maturity to handle that stuff and understand that it's important to the fans and the school, the student body, and the Ursuline community in general, and it is, and they have a lot of the same things going on that we have going on, and it's important, and that's what makes it one of the things that makes it special. But at the end of the day, at the end of the school day, we have to go out and practice and be efficient and be locked in and understand what our game plan is and execute it well in practice. So then we get to Friday. Both sides have a rally. We have to handle the rally and not get too emotionally invested into it and be ready to play at a high level, 4.5 hours after the rally ends. And, so it does take a certain level of maturity, but just kind of be as even keeled as possible through that stuff. Try to enjoy it without being fully immersed in it. And if we can do that, then we feel good about kicking off at 7 o'clock and playing at a high level.
Right, briefly you talked about the rally, and they used to have the rally the day before the game.
Yeah.
Do you like it a little bit when it's on the day of the game because it kind of gets a little excitement going the day of, or does it,
No, I prefer the day before, just because there's a big swell of emotion at the rally, and then you have a few hours in between where it comes back. Then you have to try to build back up, where if it's a day before, you have a whole 24 hours, more than 24 hours to get back to that level. So, that's what we talk about, where you have to kind of disenfranchise yourself from what's going on at the rally to a certain degree and just kind of sit there and watch it, but not be immersed in it, because then you can have an emotional high, at 2 o'clock, and we need it at 7 o'clock, not at 2. So.
And lastly, what's your message to Irish fans for Friday night for the Holy War?
Yeah, just I know they're going to come out and support, and we need you loud like we always do. It's a blackout theme this week, so. For the student body, so for whatever that's worth, our student body has done a great job all season, and they're loud, they're having fun, and I love it. Be loud, be boisterous, and we'll feed off your energy.
And that's what's going to happen on Friday night. We're going to have the game on YSN against Cardinal Mooney, Ursuline and Cardinal Mooney at Stanbaugh Stadium, live on YSN at 7 p.m. Coach Dan Reardon, thanks for joining me. That's the last of this year. It's been a good year with talking to coaches and players. We'll see you Friday night at Stanbaugh Stadium. We're here at the Golden Dawn Restaurant on YSN Live.